Hey boys and girls, this is a love printing project. It is inspired by Robert Indiana's sculpture called Love, these big letters that create the word love. Well, we're going to create a print inspired by that sculpture. Starting on a styrofoam piece, we're going to write our name on the back with a Sharpie. It's important that it's a permanent marker, then flip it over. Now we have to carve our stamp, and in order to do that, we're going to use a pencil with a dull end. So that means it's not very sharp. It's a little on the dull side. You know, you would want to sharpen it normally, but today you don't. So I am going to create lines. Notice that my styrofoam is standing tall. It is vertical. Yours can be either direction. That is totally up to you. I'm remembering those lines that I've learned and used in the past, like zigzag lines, curly lines, dotted lines. All of those are fine. You might find as you are trying to draw your lines into the styrofoam that it's a little difficult to make curved lines, so straight lines might be a little easier. But your goal as you are making your lines is to press hard, not to make a hole, but to press hard enough that you make an indentation in the styrofoam. You'll see why we need that in just a moment. So I'm going to keep making lines, and again, curved lines are a little harder, but you can do it. And I'm going to keep making those lines until I fill up my whole piece of styrofoam. No space left, and my designs are interesting. Finally filled up my piece of styrofoam with designs from the top to the bottom. Once I'm done creating all my lines and designs, I'm going to go back and go over my lines one more time. Remember, I don't want any holes. I don't want to go all the way through my styrofoam, but I want to make sure my lines are deep. I want to be able to feel them if I rub my finger over the styrofoam. I want to feel it as if it is like a stamp. That's what we're looking for so that our print will work. So go over every single line that you created, make them a little bit deeper, press down hard, use those muscles, and make it work. Okay, here comes the fun part. I have some pieces of white paper and I need to put my name on the back of all of them. I won't be able to do that after I print, so it's a good idea to do it now. After you put your name on every single piece of paper that you have, I want you to look. You have some water and a sponge or a sponge brush, and you're going to be using your Crayola markers. Washable markers are what we're going to use for this today. So I'm going to think of 3 colors. I'm starting out with 3 colors. So I have yellow, green, and pink. I'm going to use the lightest of those colors first, and for this one it will be yellow, and I am coloring straight on my styrofoam. I am making sure all the white space is filled up. Once I finish with my yellow, I put that away, and it's okay if your colors overlap a little bit. And once I'm done with the pink, I'm going to fill up the rest of the white space with my green. Make sure there's no white space left. That's very important. As you are coloring with your marker, try not to touch it because this ink is not actually going into the thing. It is going to be sitting right on top of the styrofoam. When you're done, you're going to take your sponge brush and wet your piece of paper. For this one, I'm going to flip my styrofoam onto the paper and I'm going to press the back. Try not to wiggle it around. You want it to stay nice and stationary, and voila, look at that. All those colors and lines. Now this is a art that you have to figure out the best way that works. Sometimes you need less water, sometimes you need more markers. So during this process, you'll figure out which way works best for you. Now, I'm going to use some paper towels, wipe off my stamp, and repeat that process all over again. This time I'm using some cool colors, blue, green, and purple, and I am going to, again, color over my entire styrofoam printing plate. That's actually what your styrofoam is called. It's a printing plate. I'm going to fill it up with color all over again and repeat the same process of printing again. After you fill up your plate with color, then you are going to use your sponge brush to add water on top of your paper. This time I'm going to take the paper and flip it over onto the stamp. We'll see which one works best. Ooh, voila! I really like that. So I'm learning that a little bit less water works a little bit better. Again, I'm going to wipe off my plate with a paper towel, and I'm going to repeat that process again. Today you can repeat this printing process as many times as you have time for, so you can keep printing until we have to clean up. That way you get as many options as you can. Now we're going to put all your prints up so that they can dry and be ready for our next step. So now I have a background pink sheet of paper and I have these 4 letters. I also have 4 of my favorite prints that I created. Now the 4 letters that I'm using are L-O-V-E. Instead of the O, I have a heart, and then V-E. You'll notice that those letters are backwards, and they're supposed to be that way for right now. Now I have these also in color paper, which is what I'm going to use. For these letters, only cut the black line. You're cutting them out, and you're only cutting on the black line. I'm going to cut out the V, and again, only on the black line. That's the only lines that I'm cutting. And after that, I will cut out my E. Now I want you to notice that now that I have all 4 letters, the black lines are going to go on the back of the letter. That's just to keep it as neat as possible. So first, we cut the lines that are black, and then we put them on the back. So I've glued down my L, and since I put the black lines on the back, it's turned the right way now. It was turned backwards, and now it is turned the right way. I've glued down the L. Here's the heart. I'm going to glue down my V. Remember, the black goes on the back. And finally, the E. Make sure all of your letters are turned the correct way after you put the black on the back. And after I have my L-O-V-E glued down, then I'm going to glue my 4 rectangles, so each of my letter blocks, down on my background sheet of paper. So this will complete my project. Remember, when you're using glue, one line and you'll be fine. Not too much glue, and keep it nice and neat. And after you have everything glued, flip the whole thing over, give it a good massage so that everything has had a chance to get some stick time and your glue sticks really nicely. And this is a great time to write your name on the back. I can't wait to see your love printing projects. Happy creating!